Everywhere you look, people are pretending. They're masking pain with distractions, hiding weakness behind fake smiles, and pretending like they've got it all figured out. But the truth, it's idiots all the way down. People following people, no leadership. Just layers of delusion stacked on top of each other. Want to. And if you're not careful, you'll become just another cog in that broken machine. That's not who I've been lied to. Conditioned to believe that comfort is the goal. That struggle is something to avoid. But here's the brutal truth. Everything real, everything raw and powerful comes from the suffering, comes from the grind, comes from facing who you truly are when no one's watching. And most people don't want that fight. They want easy. They want excuses. But not you. If you've ever looked in the mirror and felt disgusted, good. That's your real self knocking. That feeling is the raw edge of truth. It's the fire you've buried under years of mediocrity. It's the signal that there's more inside you screaming to get out. But you've got to peel away the layers of fake. The ego. The lies. The fear. Because if you don't know who you are, the world will tell you who to be. And they're all idiots. Every time you run from pain, you're running from growth. Every time you choose distraction, you're building a weaker version of yourself. You want strength. You want discipline. You want to be someone you respect. Then stop following fools. Stop giving energy to people who are more broken than you. And stop lying to yourself. The truth is, we're all broken. But some of us choose to stay that way. Others, the rare few, they crawl into the pain. They dissect it. They use it. Because the only way to uncover who you really are is to go to war with who you've become. So when they tell you to take it easy, you go harder. You've done enough, you do more. When they laugh, doubt, criticize, you keep grinding. Because deep down, you're not here to fit in. You're here to find out who you really are. And that journey, it's brutal. It's lonely. It's raw. But it's yours. And nobody can do it for you. The world is full of pretenders. Stop being one walk in any room, scroll through any feed, listen to most conversations, and you'll see it. Pretending. Everyone's got a mask on. Everyone's trying to play a role that fits the expectations, the image, the identity they wish they were. Nobody wants to admit it, but the truth is clear. People would rather appear strong than be strong. They'd rather look happy than face the truth. 2, they would rather be accepted by a broken system than rejected while building something real. And this infection is everywhere. School, work, friendships, even families. Pretending has become the currency of our time. But here's the dangerous part. If you're surrounded by fakes long enough, you start becoming one too. You start copying their language, imitating their habits, following their fear-driven choices. And before you know it, you're no longer living your life. You're living a filtered version of someone else's lie. That's how identity gets hijacked. You stop questioning the path you're on because everyone else seems to be doing the same thing. And you confuse comfort with success. But comfort is the coffin of potential. That mask you wear, it's killing the real you. Slowly, quiet every day. Pretenders don't train. They don't wake up early. They don't face themselves in silence. They distract. They complain. They scroll. They lie. They create a version of themselves that looks good from the outside, but is rotting on the inside. That's why most people can't sit alone in a room without panicking. That's why they need noise, need attention, need validation. They've never taken the time to meet the real version of themselves. They've never tested their limits or faced their pain head on. They've just copied what they saw and hoped it worked out. If you want to be real, you've got to strip that mask off. You've got to reject the whole system of pretending. That means showing up when it's hard. That means doing the ugly work, sweating alone, failing alone, grinding in silence. It means being brutally honest with yourself about how weak you've become and how much stronger you need to be. It's not glamorous. There's no applause. But this is where the real identity is forged, in those dark, painful moments when no one's watching and you choose truth over illusion. You think the world respects strength? Not really. The world fears strength. Real strength. Because real strength exposes weakness. That's why pretenders mock what they don't understand. They'll try to pull you down, laugh at your discipline, question your ambition, because your actions threaten the fragile reality they've built. Don't buy into that weakness. Don't accept their narrative. They are scared of people who live with purpose. They are scared of people who don't need approval. And if you want to escape their trap, you need to stop caring what they think You are not here to be another masked fool in the crowd. You're here to strip it all down. You're here to call yourself out and step into your raw, unfiltered self. That journey starts when you stop pretending. That's when things get real. That begins because beneath the lies, the laziness, the distractions, there's something buried, something strong, something relentless. And until you stop pretending, you'll never unlock it. Discomfort is the doorway to self-discovery. Nobody finds themselves in comfort. You don't learn who you are when life is easy. You don't build anything when your feet are up and your mind is numb. Discomfort is the test, the battlefield, to the harsh mirror that shows you what's real and what's fake. It strips you bare. It breaks the illusions. When you're out there freezing in the rain, when your body is begging to stop, when your mind is screaming to quit, that's when you get a glimpse of who you really are. And most people run from that moment. They tap out before they even touch the edge of their truth. You've been conditioned to avoid pain, told to seek ease, pleasure, convenience. But that's a setup. That's how you stay weak. The more you avoid or you drift from your potential, the gym hurts. Good. Go anyway. The early morning alarm stings. Perfect. Get up and attack. That hard conversation you're avoiding, say it. That challenge that scares you, take it on. Because every time you step into discomfort, you're stepping toward growth, toward power, toward your true self. And there's no shortcut. There's no cheat code. You either suffer with purpose or you rot in comfort. Discomfort isn't punishment. It's a tool. It's the forge where real confidence is built. You don't gain strength by staying where it's safe. You gain it by testing yourself over and over. And every time you survive that test, you earn a piece of who you really are. You find out you're tougher than you thought, stronger than you believed. And suddenly, things that once seemed impossible become standard. That's the power of discomfort. It elevates your baseline. But only if you face it with open eyes and relentless intent. People talk about finding themselves like it's a peaceful retreat. It's not. It's a war. And that war is fought in the trenches of pain, fatigue, and doubt. You want to discover what you're made of? Go do something that terrifies you. Push yourself until your lungs burn, your legs tremble, and your will starts to crack. Then keep going. That's where the truth lies. That's where your limits get exposed and shattered. But only if you have the guts to walk through the fire instead of running from it. There's no growth without discomfort. Period. If it doesn't challenge you, it's not changing you. If it feels easy, you're not going hard enough. Stop looking for the path of least resistance. It leads nowhere. The pain you feel in discomfort is not there to hurt you. It's there to introduce you to the version of you that's been sleeping, the warrior, the savage, the beast. But that version will stay buried unless you suffer your way into its presence. So start doing the hard things on purpose. Wake up early. Train until you shake. Say no when it's easier to say yes. Go toward what makes you uncomfortable and do it again and again until it becomes normal. That's how you build self-respect. That's how you uncover identity. That's how you stop being a stranger to your own life. Through discomfort, you don't just change, you evolve. Pain is the compass that points toward truth. Pain doesn't lie. It doesn't care about your excuses, your status, or your story. Pain cuts straight through all of that and tells you exactly where you are. It's the most honest thing you'll ever feel. You want to know if you're on the right path. Follow the pain. That sting in your chest when you've been soft for too long. That ache in your soul when you're not doing what you know you should be. That's your internal compass screaming at you, begging you to move, to change, to become. Pain isn't the enemy. It's the truth you've been avoiding. People love to silence pain. They medicate it, numb it, run from it, because it forces them to confront who they really are. You can't fake your way through pain. It exposes your discipline, your habits, your mindset. And in that exposure, most people crumble because they're not built for that level of honesty. They've spent their lives avoiding it. But if you can embrace pain instead of running from it, if you can stand in the fire and listen to what it's telling you, you'll find answers no book, no video, no mentor could ever give you. That's self-discovery at its rawest level. The truth is, every major shift in your life is going to come wrapped in pain. The moment you decide to lose the weight, build the business, become disciplined, fix your mindset, it's going to hurt. Not a little, a lot. Because change means killing the old version of yourself. And that death comes with pain. Growth means failure, setbacks, isolation, doubt. But every time you push through, Every time you don't quit, you're sending a message to yourself that says, I'm not here to be average. I'm here to be real. You've got to stop looking at pain as punishment. Start looking at it as feedback. It's not trying to break you. It's trying to show you what needs fixing. That mental fatigue, that's a signal you've been coasting too long. That physical soreness. That means you're finally using your body like it was meant to be used. That emotional sting when you fall short, that's your conscience holding you accountable. Most people ignore that feedback and they stay stuck. But the strong, the disciplined, they listen and they level up. You need to start chasing the pain that builds, not the pain that destroys. There's a difference. The pain that builds comes from effort, from commitment, from pushing yourself beyond limits. That pain is pure. It's powerful. It doesn't come to tear you down. It comes to carve the real you out of the shell you've been hiding in. And the deeper you go into it, the clearer your vision becomes. You start seeing what's possible. You start seeing what matters. You start seeing who you were always meant to be. Most of the world will spend their entire lives avoiding pain and wondering why they feel empty. But not you. You're going to use pain. You're going to follow it. You're going to make it your compass. Because pain has never lied to you. It's always pointed toward your weakness, your fears, your limits. And now you're going to hunt it down. Not to suffer, but to evolve. Because that's where your truth lies. Right behind the pain you keep dodging. Disgust with yourself is the starting point for growth. That moment when you look in the mirror and feel disgusted. It's not a curse. It's a gift. It's raw. It's real. It's the first sign that you're waking up from the delusion. Most people are so numb. They don't even notice how far they've drifted from who they could be. They're comfortable being mediocre, proud of doing the bare minimum, and content with being average. But if you've ever stood in silence and hated what you saw, the belly fat, the laziness, the excuses, the lies, you're one of the few. That self-disgust is the beginning of something powerful, something savage. That's the ignition switch. The reason disgust is so important is because it burns. It cuts deep. It doesn't let you hide. You can't smile your way out of it. You can't fake confidence when your soul knows you've been slacking. That deep frustration with yourself is your true self calling you out. It's not the world judging you. It's your own potential screaming that you've betrayed it. You don't get that kind of emotion unless there's a deeper version of you that's watching, waiting, and ready to rise. That feeling isn't weakness. It's clarity. We've been told to avoid negative emotions, to stay positive, to brush aside the dark thoughts. But that mindset is soft. That mindset keeps people stuck in cycles of failure. You don't grow by patting yourself on the back when you've done nothing worth applauding. You grow by hitting rock bottom and deciding you'll never be that weak again. You use that disgust as leverage. You let it push you into the gym. Let it keep you grinding past exhaustion. Let it fuel the fire that never dies. Because once you've tasted the shame of being less than you know you're capable of, you never want to feel that again. Disgust is the mirror of potential. It shows you how far you've fallen, but it also shows you how far you can climb. That feeling in your chest when you realize you've wasted time, broken promises to yourself, given into comfort. Don't run from it. Use it. Weaponize it. That's the inner confrontation that starts transformation. When you finally get sick of your own lies, when you finally say, no, that's when the real work begins. That's when you stop making excuses and start making progress. Most people distract themselves the moment disgust shows up. They pick up their phone, turn on the TV, scroll endlessly, hoping to drown that voice out. But that voice doesn't go away. It gets louder with time. And if you don't listen, it will turn into regret. But if you face it, if you let that disgust pierce you, it'll transform into drive, relentless drive. The kind that doesn't quit at 5 a.m. The kind that doesn't care what anyone else is doing. The kind that builds something unshakable. Want tos. When you look at yourself and feel sick of the lies, sick of the softness, sick of the wasted time, don't shrink. Don't collapse. Stand tall and become the foundation. Because self-disgust, when faced with courage, becomes self-respect. And self-respect becomes the fuel for greatness. You just have to stop hiding from what you already know deep down. You've got more in you. A lot more. The world will label you. If you don't know who you are, if you don't define yourself, this world will do it for you. And it won't be generous. It won't be accurate. It'll label you based on your past, your failures, your appearance, your mistakes. It'll put you in a box and tell you to stay there. The second you stop fighting for your identity, the second you get quiet about who you are and what you stand for, someone else starts writing your story. And most people, they hand over the pen without a second thought. They accept labels like lazy, average, weak, broken, and carry them around like truth. But those labels are lies unless you choose to live them out. This world doesn't reward real identity. It fears it. Because someone who knows there can't be controlled. They can't be manipulated. They can't be sold a fake dream. Can't be broken by opinions. So society works over time to keep you distracted, confused, insecure. They feed you shallow labels and shiny titles to keep you from ever asking the deeper question, who am I really? And if you never confront that question head on, you'll become whatever the world needs you to be. Quiet, soft, dependent, obedient. You want to reclaim your power. Start rejecting the labels. Stop answering to names that don't belong to you. Stop living out roles that were never yours. Just because you failed doesn't mean you're a failure. Just because you're struggling doesn't mean you're weak. You've got to decide who you are through action, not imagination. Identity isn't something you find. It's something you build. It's forged in pain, tested in silence, and proven through repetition. It's not found in comfort, and it's never handed to you. When you don't know who you are, you become a mirror. You reflect what others expect. You play it safe, shrink to fit in, stay quiet to avoid judgment. That's existing. And it's the fastest way to end up full of regret. You were not made to be everyone's reflection. You were made to be a fire, one that doesn't dim just because it makes people uncomfortable. And the only way to be that fire is to stand firm in your truth, even when it's lonely, even when it's misunderstood, especially when it's tested. You've got to make the decision. Either you label yourself with truth or the world labels you with lies. You either walk your own path or you get dragged down theirs. There is no in between. So define who you are with discipline, with purpose, with the way you train, the way you speak, the way you show up when no one's watching. Stop asking people for permission to be great. Stop explaining your ambition. The world doesn't need to understand you. It just needs to get out of your way. There is nothing more dangerous than a man or woman who knows exactly who they are because they don't break. They don't beg. And the world can't put a label on something that doesn't fit the mold. So tear off the label. Tear off the mask. Build an identity so solid that no opinion, no trend, no attack can shake it. Because once you know who you are, you become unstoppable. Most people stay broken because it's easier. Here's the cold truth. Being broken is easier than rebuilding. Staying in pain is easier than facing it. Most people walk around wounded, not because they can't heal, because healing requires responsibility. It requires effort. It demands confrontation. And that's something the average person wants no part of. They'd rather stay broken and play the victim. They want sympathy instead of transformation. And that mindset is poison. It keeps you stuck in the same cycle. Hurt, blame, repeat. But the ones who rise, they choose the hard path. They look at the wreckage and say, I did this. Now I fix it. There's a sick comfort in being broken. People coddle you. They expect less from you. They let you off the hook. Excuse becomes your shield. I've been through too much. You don't know what I've faced. It's not my fault. And maybe it's not. But guess what? It's still your responsibility to fix it because no one's coming. No one's going to rescue you from your own pain. You can stay there telling the same story for the next 30 years. Or you can decide to rewrite it. Most won't. Most choose comfort in the chaos. But comfort never leads to growth. Rebuilding hurts. It's painful to admit you've let yourself go. It's painful to admit you've lied to yourself, quit on yourself, betrayed your potential. But that pain is necessary. You can't rebuild what you refuse to acknowledge. And most people are terrified of that mirror. So they stay broken. They distract themselves with fake wins, new clothes, new relationships, likes and comments, but underneath it all, they're cracked, afraid. They dress up the win, but never clean it out, never dig into it, never do the work. But if you want to rise, if you want to get out of that hole, you've got to face the pain head on. No filter, no buffer. That's where the change starts. The gym, the silence, the sweat, the grind, those are your tools. That's your therapy. That's how you rebuild something stronger than what was broken. Not a patched up version, but a new weapon. a hardened version of yourself that doesn't fold under pressure. But it's going to take everything. You've got to want it more than the comfort of being wounded. The world will keep handing you excuses, trauma, circumstance, labels. And they're real. But they're not the end. They're not a life sentence. They're the beginning of a new chapter. If you're willing to turn the page. But most people won't. They want a shortcut, a handout, a cheat code. There is none. There's only blood, sweat, truth, and fire. That's the price of rebuilding. That's the price of self-respect. You either pay it or you stay broken. Simple as that. So the next time you feel sorry for yourself, the next time you want to retreat into that broken version of you, remember this, you're choosing that pain. You're choosing that weakness. Because you have the tools. You have the time. You just haven't committed yet. You want to be different. Then stop choosing easy. Choose the path where no one claps for you, but every step rebuilds your soul. Because staying broken is easy. But becoming whole, that's where the warriors are made.